Hello, everyone. Welcome to Empower Hour with KB. Here we dive deep into healing, self-discovery, emotional liberation, and soul alignment. Through honest conversations, spiritual insights, and empowering tools, you will be reminded of your inner wisdom, your worth, and your power to create meaningful change from the inside out. So if you're ready to break cycles, reclaim your power, and walk your path with authenticity and confidence, you are in the right place. Today, I have a very fun topic for you. I'm always excited to bring topics to my Noom Vibe community because you all completely rock. You are here because you are a soul-led, heart-centered, and courageously curious person. You are seeking, you are looking for change. You are looking for ideas. You are looking for transformation. And I am so honored every single day to commune with you all. Noom Vibe community is where it's at. I'm just saying, there's no other community like this. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and day to join with us, because this is not just about me talking. This is about the energy that everybody brings to this space. Energy runs in and through everything. So you think that you may not be coming up on the stage or sending up emojis because you have an Android device, or you're just listening while you're driving, you're not really interacting. Please don't think that your energy doesn't matter. You being here matters. I promise you it matters. Energy runs in and through all things, and bringing your light and your heart to these conversations helps make them so impactful. I know that I leave my conversations daily just hi. I feel great. I love, love, love talking to you all. So thank you for being here, taking the time to come on my talks and to listen. And if you're someone who's new here and you like talks that have to do with reclaiming your personal power, healing your relationships, creating meaningful change in your life, then don't forget to hit that follow button that's right underneath my profile picture of me and my honey. Click that follow button so that you will be notified when I come on live. That is if you have your notifications turned on. Let's get started. We're going to talk about the 5 stark truths about change, because all of us want change. We all do in some capacity, whether it's more peace in our life, it could be a deeper, more meaningful, loving relationships. It could be more connection. It could be better health. It could be losing weight, or a life that just feels more aligned with who you really are. Maybe it's more about creating passion. Maybe it's finding fulfillment. Change is wired into our nature. It's the longing to grow beyond where we've been and to step into what's possible. But what most of us don't realize is that change isn't just about dreaming of something new. It's about learning to navigate the discomfort, the loss, and the resistance that comes with it. Who can relate to that? Who can relate to resistance when you're wanting to change something? This is a normal and natural aspect of being human, where we will resist something. I know I have. When we understand the truth about change, we stop waiting for it to magically happen and start walking with it courageously, step by step. Thank you for all the emojis who came up on the screen just now. When I asked that question, I appreciate it, you guys. It's really great when if you have that option to click the emojis, you have an Apple device, it really shows everybody else in the room that you are human too. And it gives other people permission to do the same. That's what vulnerability is all about. So by you clicking that button, you're showing other people like, oh yeah, that's me. Oh, I get that. And then other people go, okay, maybe I won't be as afraid to click those emojis too, and to say, yeah, me too. Because there's something super powerful in me too. There really, really is. When someone says, oh, I totally relate, I get that. There's so much power in that, because we don't feel alone. And much of our life, we feel like we're the only one that's experiencing certain things. We're the only one that doesn't get it. We're the only one that's not creating change. We're the only one that's stuck in our emotions. We're the only one who can't let go of the past. We're the only one who has a crappy relationship. We're the only one that can't get the house, the car, the spouse, whatever it might be. No, it's just not true. We're all aiming for something. And so I hope in today's conversation, you will maybe pick something up from these 5 truths that I'm going to share about change. The first one is change is uncomfortable. You've heard me talk about that a lot, but it's worth revisiting because the more that this stuff sinks in, the more aware we become. And then when that discomfort enters, we can say, oh, here's that discomfort. Here's that part of me that is resisting this because the brain likes what's familiar. Keep in mind that your nervous system, my nervous system, is designed to keep us safe by clinging to what's familiar, even if familiar is toxic or unfulfilling. It wants to cling to that old way because, like I've said many times, the ego wants to keep us in a box. And the amygdala is always scanning our environment for a potential threat. So a potential threat could be, quote unquote, change. We're doing something different. So what does this mean? Comfort zones feel good in the moment, but they slowly drain your vitality. Think about that. Comfort zones feel good in the moment, but they drain our passion. They drain our inspiration. They just keep us small and stuck. Growth, expansion, and transformation require discomfort. The friction you feel during this time is not a sign that you're failing. It's evidence that you're seeking to evolve. So understanding that discomfort, that, ooh, what's that, just kind of like, ooh, kind of feeling that we feel when we're going to try something new, it's part of the gig. It's part of the gig. So let's say you're thinking, I want to get stronger, so I'm going to start going to the gym. A lot of people have a fear of the gym. This is it's so normal, I can't even tell you. It is so incredibly common for someone to step into the gym and be like, oh, I don't know what to do. I feel like everyone's looking at me. I still have the feeling that everybody's looking at me. I got to tell you guys, I do. And so every once in a while, I'll take a break from my workout and I'll look around. No one's looking at me. Everybody's involved. They're not looking at anybody else either. They're just involved in their own thing. So, that fear of everybody's looking at me could be part of that discomfort that we're going to feel when we're entering into the gym. Of course, I'm just using this as an example. The same thing could be true with starting a new job. So you don't want to do what you're doing anymore. It's awful. You hate it. You feel stuck. It's uninspiring. Your coworkers are awful. Your boss isn't a great leader, and you want a new job. But there's a part of you that might think, and these are just examples, you all. There's a part of you that might think, oh, I hate starting a new job. I don't like meeting new people. I don't like being the underdog. I don't like being the newbie. I don't like being the person who doesn't know yet. At least at this job that I'm in, I know every aspect of this job. I'm a person people come to, whatever it might be. So that discomfort of starting a new job could be that very thing. It's like, well, I can stay over here where it's familiar and I know what to expect day to day, or I can branch out and I can step into the unknown courageously, not fearlessly, because fear is part of our makeup. We're going to feel fear, you guys. Sometimes people think that fear is a stopping point. I feel fear, I'm going to freeze, but only if we allow it to be. I have felt fear. I can't even tell you. Oh, so many things. But the one that always comes to my mind is fear of what I'm doing now. Fear of branching out into the world and speaking and writing a book and doing all the things that I've done starting, 14, 15 years ago. I don't remember when I started all this, but it's a long time ago. It was in the teens for sure. My gosh, my first blog, I wrote stuff down on a computer and I had to hit post. You think that I just did it like nothing? No, I had to sit on it, swirl about it, wait a day, go back, read the blog again, change it, ask myself if people were going to think I was stupid or insane, or if I was going to get pushed back or fought with. And then I would walk away again, and then I'd come back and read it again. And then eventually I felt the fear and did it anyway and hit post. And I did it over and over and over again until I finally decided, I don't want to just write. I want people to hear my tone of voice. So then I branched into podcasting. Started a podcast, had no idea what I was doing, didn't even know much about a podcast. Scared to death, did it anyway. My first podcast episode was a whopping 7 minutes. 7 minutes. It's called the Sweet Empowerment Podcast. It's still there. It's got 100 and something, maybe 200 episodes. It's a great, great podcast, but you're going to see me and hear me in my early years, which is really fascinating. I haven't gone back to listen to any in a while, but maybe I'll do that when I have time. But I was scared to death. I was so scared, but I felt compelled, and I knew that I needed to step out of the known and into the unknown. So keep that in mind. A great reflection question you can ask yourself regarding this one, number one, that changes uncomfortable is, where am I choosing comfort today at the expense of my growth? Great reflection question. Where am I choosing comfort today at the expense of my growth? Now, remember, growth can be in any area. It can be relationship, career, health, physical health, mental health, relationship health, whatever. But where am I choosing comfort at the expense of my growth? Great reflection question. If you can, write that down. Ask yourself that question. This is self-healing. This is self-coaching. When we ask ourselves powerful questions like that, and we're willing to hear the truth, and we write it down and we journal on it, we are growing. Growth starts right there. It might be even uncomfortable just to ask yourself that question and to be real and honest with yourself. That's okay. Wherever you're finding this discomfort, give yourself compassion and grace. You're normal. You're normal. You're human. You're doing the human thing. So give yourself grace anytime discomfort comes up for you and you're about to try something new. That's number one. Number two, you can't change what you don't face. Yuck, right? It's like, oh, that's a brutal truth. That's an in your face. That's why I call these stark truths, because they're very naked truths. But we can't change what we don't face. Avoidance is the enemy of transformation and growth and our evolution. If we're avoiding it, we can't move it because we're keeping it over here in a separate box. We're keeping it away from ourselves. We don't want to look at it. So we're just leaving it over there, but yet we're over here longing. Oh, I just want change. I want something different. I want expansion. I want growth. I want whatever it might be for you. Carl Jung, he is a Swiss psychologist or psychiatrist. I think he was psychiatrist, said that what we resist in the unconscious only grows stronger until we face it. And what I have noticed, with lots of claps going on up in this talk, and for that one, you guys, so thank you for that. I love that. We had Michelle, VA, Lisa, Collins. Hey, Collins, you're new. Cute little photo of a puppy. Looks like a golden, or a puppy meaning a dog, but you get what I'm saying. So whether it's a toxic relationship, a painful truth about yourself, or an unhealthy habit, or an addiction, you can't heal what you refuse to acknowledge. Honesty, no matter how uncomfortable, is the doorway to real change. Did you hear that word that I just said? Uncomfortable? It's all of this is uncomfortable, you guys. Back in the day of I continue to heal, but I always point back to my College of Kristen, which was a 2-year period of time where I vowed to remain single and celibate. I didn't even so much as look at in the direction or even breathe the air of a cute guy. I was single and celibate because I needed to figure a few things out. And I remember thinking one day, or having this download one day, that I was getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It became my norm to be uncomfortable, to where it's not even really uncomfortable anymore. I mean, I feel it, but it doesn't impact me. It doesn't freeze me. It doesn't keep me stuck like it used to. And I thought, wow, there's something to this. Again, I didn't have any teachers or mentors during this time. And then somewhere along my journey, I would hear about it or read about it or watch another mentor say it. And I was like, yeah, that. So this is the inner wisdom that we acquire on our own journeys. And you have this too. You've come up with some really amazing insights, but it's not being spoken in your circles, whatever circle you're in right now. But when you start to expand that, you're going to say, oh my gosh, I am connected to the divine. I do receive downloads. I am wise. I have learned some things on my journey. So just a little sidebar, give yourself space to know things. Give yourself the respect and the honor to be wise, to have acquired some wisdom and some knowledge and some ideas and some theories. I promise you, when it comes from that type of insight, it will show up in the world and you will be validated. This is about validating ourselves first, because knowing, we feel it. We feel it in our heart. We feel it in our soul. We feel it in our solar plexus. We feel the truth. You're allowed to have that truth without any validation from anybody else, because you know what you know. A reflection question on this one is, what truth am I avoiding that I know I need to face? What truth am I avoiding that I know I need to face? What is it? What is it? You know you have some. I could feel it. One of you right now thought of 3. That's my intuition. Somebody here is radically aware, and you just thought of 3 like that. It came right into my head, a 3, and I felt it from you. Whoever you are, you know 3 areas that you need to face. Kudos to you, because it came really fast for you, which means you're open. All right. And for those of you who are not quite aware yet, that's okay. You're just moving through your journey. You're opening. And a great prayer or intention or mantra that we can say is, I am opening. I am willing to be open to truth. I am willing to be honest with myself. Truth is not scary. Truth sets me free. Truth moves the needle. Truth opens my heart and my mind. Truth is about abundance of the universe. When I open my mind and my heart to truth, the universe can meet me at that truth. When I'm avoiding it, I'm staying in this energetic space. But when I embrace truth, own truth, face truth, I'm going to upgrade my energetic frequency. Because remember, universe is always matching us, always matching our frequency, no matter what it is. This is why I know I and Cecilia Grace talk a lot about, what are you focusing on? What you're focusing on grows. So if you're focusing on how crappy things are, be honest with yourself. You know what? I am so negative. I am focusing on what's not working in my life. This sucks. I don't like the way I feel. I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm a negative Nelly or Ned. No harm, no foul. No one died. You didn't lose a limb. You just got radically honest with yourself. This is to celebrate. So kudos to that person. I don't know who you are. You can message me if you want. I won't say your name out loud, or I can if you're open with that. But one of you had 3, and it was fast. It was like lightning quick. You went boom, boom, boom. And those 3 chews popped into your head, and I'm super proud of you. I think I have an idea who it is, but I'm not going to say. I think, yep, that's who I thought it was. I'm not going to say your name unless you want me to. It's okay. Robin. It was our sister, Robin. I had a feeling it was you, Robin. Okay. And because, Robin's very open. She's very open. She's very aware. And that's beautiful. So awesome. So the reflection question is, what truth am I avoiding that I know I need to face? It's there. Don't cringe. Don't get scared. It doesn't mean anything. You just need to face it. That's all. Just look at it and face it and call it a day. There it is. Maybe journal about it. Maybe ask yourself questions about it if you want to expand further. I was considering changing my talk, because this is what I do, to, instead of Empower Hour, to Self-Healing Superstars, because you all are self-healing superstars. I am just a little lamp that's shining some light on some areas, but you're doing the work. I'm not doing it. I'm doing my work. I'm not doing yours. You're doing it. And I was considering that. I'm like, now I got to change it on all the other platforms and do all this stuff. And so I had to ask myself, is this really important? Does the universe really care what the name of my podcast is? No, it doesn't. It's the energy that I put into it, and it will attract the appropriate people. But just please know, this is Empower Hour with KB / Self-Healing Superstars. You have the power to heal yourself. And one of the ways that we do that is by facing what we need to change, despite it being scary, despite the cringe. Allow yourself to cringe. Who cares? It's just a cringe. It's just ew. Have you ever oohed yourself? I have. I'm like, oh, ew, Kristen. Especially for the most part, this was happening back in my College of Kristen when I got radically honest with myself about some things that I did. Like I said before, it's mostly unkindness, aggression, disrespect towards myself. It wasn't towards other people. Some people, their ooh is what they've done to other people. Doesn't matter. No one's better than the other. It's just how their inner world is manifesting. That's all it is, okay? But I've had to ooh. And it's then I started laughing. I don't know. You guys hear me laugh a lot. I just started laughing because I was like, all right, well, there's that. Do you remember when I said I had that like nervous breakdown in the middle of the night? If you've read my book, you know about it. I've talked about it several times on here. It depends how long you've been here. But this is during that hell era that I was in, my tsunami that I call it, had that nervous breakdown in the middle of the night and thought I was going to pass out, thought I was going to throw up and do the other end at the same time. My head was dizzy. I was spinning. I had to get on my all fours and try to crawl to the bathroom, but that was too painful on my knees. So I just flopped down on a batch of carpet as I was trying to crawl to the bathroom. It was a dining room, but we didn't have it as a dining room. It was like a little sitting area. And I just laid there in the middle of the night, my ears were ringing so loud. I couldn't even hear myself, but I was laughing. I was like, well, this is bottom. Stop being so serious about all this, you guys. There's nothing wrong with you. You're human. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay. But I started laughing, and I often do still laugh at myself. Laugh at yourself about the stuff that you're doing, guys. It's not that serious. If you're hurting somebody, of course it is. If you need to change something that is, it's serious in the respect that if you want change, you have to recognize it. But I'm talking about the ooh factor. Ugh, gross. I slept with someone on the first date. I'm raising my hand on that. Who can relate? Send up the emojis. Who has done the deed on the first date? It wasn't like I did it every single time, but I sure did it. Okay. I want to see some claps, guys. There we go. Someone's doing it. All right. I think that was VA. All right. Yes. We got the brave souls that are saying, yeah, that was me. Michelle, Paula, Sarah, VA. We can ooh together, but it's just the way it was. It's where we were at the time. For me, I'm just doing a little segue and then I'm going to bring in my first guest. For me, where I was at was the time was thought I needed to be that girl to be loved. Unconsciously, I was afraid the guy would go away or there was also a proving factor. Let me prove to you how fun and amazing I am. That was all truths I had to face. I'm proud of it now. I will shout it from the rooftops. How many times have I said that on these talks? I don't care because I don't judge me. I look back at little sweet little me at those ages, like my little sweet pumpkin. You didn't know what you were doing. You thought that's what you were supposed to do. You thought that meant you were valuable. You thought it stood you apart from other people. Okay. This, for me, it was not about sexual gratification. It was not about that. It was about, oh, okay, well, let me prove myself. But I owned it. I faced it. I sat with it. I forgave myself for it. And I never did it again. This is part of the healing journey. I do have Melanie who has popped into the queue. So we're going to dip over to Melanie and see if this was a purposeful join. I sure hope it is. Miss Melanie, welcome. Hi there.
Kristen, can you hear me?
Can. What a gorgeous picture. Please tell us where that is.
That's Waipio Valley on the Big Island of Hawaii.
Oh my goodness, gorgeous.
Wow, I just appreciate your honesty.
Thank
and
you.
It is 7:15 in the morning here in Hawaii, and I must have hit that microphone on accident. But I just wanted to, I was taking notes a few minutes earlier and wanted to get the point number one. Where am I choosing comfort at the expense of change? Is that what number one was?
Number one was change is uncomfortable.
Oh, change is uncomfortable.
The reflection question is, where am I choosing comfort today at the expense of my growth?
Change is uncomfortable. And where am I choosing comfort today at the expense of my growth? Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. And number two was, you can't change what you don't face.
Yes.
Okay. And then number three was, what truth am I avoiding that I need to face?
That's not number three. That's the reflection question for number two.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
No worries. Yeah,
Um,
you know what? Let me tell you this, Melanie. People are always jumping in randomly during this talk. So
mhm.
for us to go over it again is very serving to not just you, but other people that are listening.
I thought so. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily going to share a personal experience, but I
Hmm.
did want to recap on the points that you had made so far. And,
Excellent.
I just wanted to say that this past week, let's see. Oh, yes, I realized I had an ew moment with myself when I had signed up for a class, a sort of like it's called a transform class, and it was at a local gym, and it required fasting and certain limits with what you eat. And I realized that it wasn't for me, and I posted it in the group text that this thing wasn't for me, and I think it hurt the leader. And I, once I slept on it and then realized, you know what, where was that coming from? And I think it was just my own realization that I couldn't do it. I couldn't follow through with the 12-week program. And so I was in a way defending myself and by putting something up in the group post. And eventually I apologized to her and the group, and then I left the program.
Hmm.
But I guess I just realized that whenever I have those feelings of, I really don't think that I can follow through with something I signed up for and paid for, then it's okay to just say no, even if it might
Yes.
disappoint. And that person was kind of upset with me, and she
Mm.
said some things that were not very kind. And I was like, wow, then
Wow.
I'm sure glad I'm definitely not going to do this, because, my own health journey is my own health journey. And
That's right.
she just gave me some details about the fat percentage on my body. And I just was like, okay,
Wow.
lady.
No,
Granted that she has done a lot of athletic stuff before, but I just wanted out. And so it took the second day when I had shown her a picture of something that I had eaten after I broke the 16-hour fast. And she made a comment about that butter is not on the food list. And I was just like, oh my
wow.
gosh, this is just too picky for me.
That's right.
And we had a conversation on the phone, and I just said, you know what, I want out. I, I. It wasn't until I said I don't care about getting my food journals graded. I don't care if I get an F. I was like, I really don't care. And she
That's so
said,
good.
oh, well, maybe this program isn't for you then. And I was like, bingo, you got it. But I didn't say that aloud to her.
Hmm.
Anyway, that was just my point that I had to make. Sometimes we just need to realize what's happening inside ourselves and just, well, for myself, speak from myself. I needed to just say, you know what? It's not for me. And I
Yes.
don't care what you say. I don't care how you say I need to get better at doing hard things. This is not for me. I'm already
That's
doing
right.
something difficult. So that's what I wanted to share. It's nothing too dramatic, but it kind of caused me to loop back into negative.
Wow, Melanie, thank you so much for sharing that story. First of all, you're going to get 300 vibes for your first time coming on my stage, and I hope that you come back. That was an excellent share. Thank you so much. But oh my gosh, when you were saying I can't follow through, what I was thinking was I can't follow through or I just don't want to. I just don't want to. This does not feel right for me. This is not jiving with me. What you did right there, sister, is that you did the opposite of abandoning yourself. You secured yourself. And I think, I'm just going to speak for you, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you had an inner knowing, like an intuitive hit, like something doesn't feel right in this. I don't know what it is yet. And then when you had the conversation with the facilitator, you started to realize, wow, I really was on track and this was not for me. It's not. I want to tell you guys, I made a $2,000 mistake once. $2,000 I put towards a course. The girl is amazing at what she does. She's big in the world. She's made millions of dollars teaching this. And I joined up for her course and I got in there and I started doing this thing. And I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't like this. This doesn't feel good to me. I don't feel like the support I was going to get. It was something to do with business. Okay. And I never went back. $2,000 on my credit card that I had to pay off. But I was okay with that. I was okay with that because it wasn't in alignment with me. I had gotten onto a path that didn't feel right. And it was uncomfortable that I had the $2,000 and I had to sit there for a minute. And then I said, do I beat myself up about this and I remember telling my husband, and we were just like, okay, like, it's not like we're millionaires. We're not poor, but you get what I'm saying? He just like, yeah, sometimes that happens. It just wasn't for me. Super kudos to you, Melanie. Very, very proud of you for doing that. That is excellent. Excellent that you took care of yourself. And there's other things, right? There's other things. Something else may come along if you're open to it and you want it, that you'll be like, oh, now this sounds better for me. This sounds good for me. So great job, Melanie. Proud of you. Okay, I'm going to go through the next one, and then I have 2 guests in the queue. So please hang out, guys. Don't leave. I would love to hear from you. Number 3 is change always involves less. This is a wild one. Change always involves less. Every time you step into something new, you must release something old. Interesting, isn't it? It could be an old identity. It could be a belief system. It could be a habit. It could be a relationship. It's going to require the removing or the dropping of something. And this loss can sometimes feel like grief, even when the change is good. So I remember the first time I retired from hair. I was in the career for 19 years. My Tsunami ex was finally making enough money that I could do that. I had 2 kids previously, and then I had our little toddler baby girl. And so this was a good move, and every single client cried. They're crying, sobbing. Are you sure you want to do it? I'm crying, sobbing. That change was going to require this leaving my life, something that had been there for 19 years and that I loved and enjoyed, but I felt called to do the other thing. So this is what this idea is about, that it's going to require you let go of something. So ancient wisdom teaches us that nothing new comes without letting go. The pain of release makes space for the beauty of what's next. This is also in alignment with the idea and words of surrender, which is a big thing. That's letting go, letting God, source, universe, however you want to name your higher power, but letting go. So, my gosh, I've had to surrender and surrender and surrender and let go and let go and surrender and try again and be willing to surrender. And oh gosh, because we as humans want to control. But I've had to make space. I've also had to let go of control. Okay, that required a lot of my change has required less control. And I don't mean in the surrender aspect where I'm handing the big things over. I'm talking about control of what this person thinks of me or control, blah, blah, you name it. I've had to have less control. I've had to have less monkey mind. Integrating more meditation in my life meant less thinking, less overthinking, less planning, less strategizing. You see what I'm saying? So in this regard, change always involves less on some level. And the reflection question is, this is number 3, what do I need to release in order to make space for what I truly want? What do I need to release in order to make space for what I truly want? I'll tell you this little short anecdote, and then I'm going to jump into my cue. There's a person who, how do I tell this story without giving away too much? Let's just say a person was not doing their homework. And they said, the reason why I haven't done my homework is because I guess that means I'm going to have to sacrifice, was the word, in other areas. And I said, yes. Where can you fit this in where you are distracting or doing things that are meaningless or in a habit of some type that's not serving you? Because a lot of times people say, I don't have the time to do X, Y, Z, or sorry, it's been busy, or sorry. Yes, I get it. There's times like that. We do have space in our days. It's just, what are we filling it with? And like I said, yes, there are times when we really don't, or we're just so exhausted we can't think. I get it. I've been in all those spaces. But for the most part, And knowing the situation in this situation, there is space. We just have to be willing to, but we have to let go of, we have to release something else. And sometimes that means a distraction, something that we're just filling space with, like maybe spending too much time on Instagram or YouTube or binging or whatever it might be. All right, we have Karen coming up. Hi, Karen.
Hey, how are you? This is my first time writing. I've been listening and enjoying everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you. So I was just listening about a couple of your truths, and I've been joining in and out. We're actually get on and off, so I missed the previous person. So I just was going to speak about change creating fear. For me, I think that when changes are happening, it's created fear. And I've been to change that mindset into, instead of having fear, having it be like a newness, a new beginning.
Ooh, good. Great reframe.
Myself to reframe so that it's a beginning. I've had to start over many times in my life for various reasons. I think we have that similarity in some of our history.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've taken this time joining Noom recently over the past few months to take care of myself and invest in myself. And so I think one of the things for me was the fear of taking this time to make this change physically, but also emotionally.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have that mindset to do that internally as well, because the inside has to match the outside.
That's such a great share. I mean, who can relate, you guys? I definitely can, because the fear does arise. And what we do with the fear, look at all the, do you have an Apple device? You can see the emojis coming up. People are relating. The fear is going to arise, but the question becomes, what are we going to do with it? And you brought up a powerful point, and this is why I like my co-hosts, all of you, to come up to my stage, because the powerful point here is that to reframe what this means. Okay, so this is, I'm feeling afraid right now, but this means it's a new beginning. And so we can change the fear into excitement.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and honestly, I feel that from this community. I hear people, and one of the coaches asked me about joining, and I said, "Well, I want to join when I have something to contribute." And she said, "Well, you got to jump in," and I just haven't felt like the time was right or what I need to say would be helpful. But I'm happy that I could join today. Honestly, it's been helpful, and I think this community is really what I've needed, and I feel like the community is embracing me, and I'm embracing it. So it's wonderful. So thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
And I appreciate that this community is here. I don't think I've ever had this before in this type of journey. So it's wonderful.
I think most of us haven't, to be honest, Karen. Every day that I'm on here, even teaching what I do and do what I do as a human little girl in the world, the support that I receive and that I don't mean as a speaker, just as a human as well. There's nothing like it. I've never had anything like this either. And I just long live Noom vibe. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a beautiful experience, and the support is tremendous. When I think of behaviors I had before that I've changed, and I think of the psychological aspect behind it, and then I do a lesson and I have an aha moment. Things that you kind of know, but then to have it reinforced by experts and other people who have the same, experience or stumbles or strife. It's just really important to feel that, and validation as well as a camaraderie. Really, it's wonderful.
It's the community. It's amazing. Yeah. Like you said, see, that's what I was talking about earlier, is that you have these aha moments. You're like, well, this makes sense to me, but I'm not seeing it anywhere in my current circle. But then, man, you come to Noom Vibe and somebody has said it, or somehow, somewhere in the world, you get the validation for it. It really helps us to learn to really trust ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for letting me share.
Oh, you're welcome, Karen. Thanks for coming up. I appreciate you. And you're going to be getting 300 vibes as well. I send that to the powers that be after my talks. I send an email and then you will be forwarded those 300 vibes. It used to be 200 vibes. And recently I was contacted and said, make it 300. I'm like, I'll make it 300. So thank you so much. All right. We got Stephen coming up. We've gone through 1 through 3. And then after Stephen, I'll take a quick break and do number 4. And then I will bring up my next guest. Hi, Stephen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, number 3. Ouch.
Oh, number 3 was an owie. Okay.
And it's how do I describe this? So it's a realization I had on Saturday night, and then this just confirms it. I'm like, okay, you were trying to control. You need to surrender. You can't make the other people in this group do what you want to do. They're just going to do what they're going to do. And that's no reflection on me. So this is that small group Bible study the recoveries group started that I am co-leading. And there's a gent in there that he knows the steps forwards, backwards, and sideways, but what triggered me initially was he's like I was telling somebody about grief, and he says, no, he goes, you tell one other person and you tell God, and you don't tell anybody else, because every time you tell somebody else about your grief, that relives it, and that's not good. And I'm like, I know from psychology and all this other stuff that's BS. And so the protector, whatever in me that's further down the road, it's like, I don't want anybody to listen to this, and I got to go out there and save the world from this guy. No, I don't.
That's right.
We've been on it for 4 weeks, and the same gal that recruited me, she was on week 1 and this last week, and they all got up and left, and I said, well, that was interesting. And then we kind of unpacked this a little bit. And I said, I don't think it's up to me to protect the other people from him, even if he's spouting that stuff. Because when I first got separated and started down the divorce road, I had to discern who was speaking good stuff and who was throwing BS. Mm-hmm. I did it on my own. You could figure out who was, oh, you need to do this. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm never doing that, dude.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you had your inner knowing and you trusted yourself. That's great.
There's this part of me that I just don't want to see somebody else get hurt. And I guess that was what was propelling this. And I can't save other people from getting hurt. And it's kind of, the nonchalant way is, well, if they're dumb enough to believe this guy, then that's on them. It's not my issue. Mm-hmm. We all believe who we want to believe. And if you want help, he spouts and spouts and spouts. And I'm just sitting there quietly sometimes. It's like, well, here's what I think. And so maybe you want to go talk to the loudest guy in the room. Or maybe you want to come talk to the guy throwing light and love and kindness. Your choice.
Yeah.
But
is he the co-leader, or are you a co-leader with the woman?
I'm a co-leader with whichever one of the pastors is in there. He wanted to do one based on the 12 steps and his ironclad way of preaching it, and they decided that they didn't want to do that. It was suggested. And they're like, no, we're going to do the sermon series following. We're going to ask this guy to do it. And so having him in the group was like, okay, so he knows the full 911 or 411, and here I are leading. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, there was a part of me is like, oh, well, I got to show up and do it. I'm like, I just got to show up and lead read the questions and lead. And if you all want to get into a big fight, that's on you. I'm just the leader. I'm not the authority figure. I'm not the police here. I'm just going to do my deal. This quietness.
Thank you, Stephen. You just timed out. Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. And I think a lot of people were relating to you because I saw a lot of emojis coming up on the screen. And I will say that I understand that completely because I thought I had to save the world. I really did. And then about everything. I just had to be there for everybody all the time and make sure. Nah, I've had to let that go. And I'm glad that you're having that awareness too, because that promoted me to be carrying way too much that was not mine. One of my favorite quotes from Byron Katie is, "Whose business are you in? Yours, your neighbors," meaning somebody else's, not your literal next door neighbor, "your neighbors, or God's? Whose business are you in?" So that was a question that I asked myself all the time. Where am I putting all this energy? Am I focusing on me, my life, changing, healing, up-leveling, growing me? Or am I focusing on my neighbor or something else that is God's business? Where am I at? And so that allowed me to pull in my energy. And that's been a work in progress for many, many years, over a decade. I still work with that. Getting way better at it now. Maybe it's age. I don't know. But thank you, Stephen. Excellent share. My dear ladies, don't you move. I have one more I'm going to share, then I'll start bringing you guys in. Number 4, change requires daily choices, not just inspiration. Change requires daily choices, not just inspiration. A single breakthrough moment can spark our desire for change, but lasting transformation happens in the micro decisions, in the little decisions that we make every day. Am I going to grab one gluten-free cookie, Kristen Brown, or am I eating 8 last night? Okay, this is true. I'm telling you a true thing. They're little, but still, right? What are my micro choices? This is why slowing down is so important to me. This is another reason why meditation is important to me, because when I meditate, my brain waves are slower. I'm calmer. I can think things through. I'm not knee-jerk responding to life. I'm not just grabbing something out of an instant gratification role. I slow down. And I think things through. So that's why I like that. But that's a micro choice. And we know that those micro choices build up into macro change, don't they? Modern neuroscience shows that repetition rewires the brain. We know this. This is neuroscience. Repetition, doing your reps in whatever department that is, rewires your brain. Inspiration fades, but the habit will stick. Because sometimes we're really inspired and we're going to go to the gym and we're like, woohoo. And then we just kind of decide not to. The inspiration fades. So we think, this is done. I'm not going to do this because now I'm not inspired anymore. What if you don't hit the ground running like a crazy person and you just say, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym and I'm doing 15 minutes walking on the treadmill and I'm leaving. Yay, you. I'm going outside and walking for 10 minutes and I'm coming home. Yay, you. Little micros. I remember one time I decided I was going to be a runner. I'd never been a runner. I was like, I'm going to start running. I love runners' legs. So I was like, I'm going to start running. And I got them. I did get them from running. It was pretty cool. But you know what this required? Because running is so awkward to me. I ran probably a house length the first time. Maybe. I was like, okay, that felt weird. I don't like that. And then I walked the rest of the way. The next time it was 2 house lengths, or the next time it was 3, or maybe I did, because I don't know feet, you guys. Let's say 100 feet. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't even know if that's correct. I'd run 100 feet and I'd stop. And that was it for the day. I'd just walk the rest of the way. Or sometimes I did 100 feet, stop, and then like 15 minutes later, do another 100 feet, stop. 15. See what I'm saying? Those micro things ended up me running consistently for 3.2 miles, which is a 5K. Now running, mine's really a slow jog. I'm just going to tell you, I'm just not built for running. But I did it the whole time. So it's those little micro change. It's not waiting for the inspiration. It's doing the thing anyway. The reflection question for this is, what is one small, consistent choice I can make daily to support my transformation? What is one small, consistent choice that I can make daily to support my transformation? Just one. Just one. You guys know that I have menopause weight on me. Okay, I was always that person that could basically eat whatever I want. I wasn't an overeater though, but I'm just gonna throw that in there. But I just eat whatever. And then all of a sudden menopause, perimenopause happens and the weight slowly over time just started packing on and packing on. 5 pounds is a pant size to me because I'm 5'2". And I'm a belly gainer. I'm not the hourglass where, some people might not fit on their buns. To me, it's like I can't button the pants. That's how I gain. So it's pant size for me. Well, then it was another pant size, and then it was like leggings only, and this weight just kept going. I'm like, what is happening? Do you know? I've been waiting to tell this story. I had probably 20 pounds on me. It took me probably, I think I started this not this summer that just happened, but the one prior, the 2024 summer. It took me probably 8 or 9 months to lose 8 pounds. I probably could have lost it in 3 or 2 even if I did the things that I was supposed to do. But no, I was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. 8 gluten-free cookies, but those 8 pounds stayed off. They stayed off. Recently, I lost 3 more. Got down below a number that I hadn't seen in a while. I was really happy. I only had 2 more pounds to my goal weight, and I gained them back. Okay? Human. But my point of telling you this is that I'm allowing for the small micro changes. I got out of the habit because of something that had happened. I went into emotions. My nervous system was rocked. I wasn't meditating. I was busy. So I was just making poor food choices. I didn't really care anymore. And I gained 3 pounds back. Not the initial 8. Those are still gone, which I'm really grateful for. But my point is I just kept going. I'll get there, you guys. And the day I do, I will say, guess what? I'm there. I met my first goal. But I'm taking time and I'm allowing for these micro changes. And I'm working within other parameters in my life as well. So reflective question, what is one small consistent choice I can make daily to support? I wrote something on my mirror. I wrote portions. I don't remember the whole thing because I erased it, but it was like portions, sugar, carbs, 2 other things. I don't remember, a fiber and something else. And I looked at that every single morning as a way to be conscious of how much sugar I'm intaking, how many carbs I'm intaking or what type of carbs I'm intaking, eating slow. Slow is one of them. If I didn't say that, slowing down, eating more fiber. And I looked at that every day and I became conscious. That's when those 8 pounds came off as I started to do micro changes into my diet. That is number 4, you guys. Next up, we have Julie and then Lois and Miss Sarah. Okay, Julie. Welcome, Julie.
Hello, how would the devil are thou?
The devil art thou. I love it. Doing great.
Do you know, I'm listening to your conversation about weight, and I have the opposite problem. Now, someone the other day said to me, Julie, you're looking really skinny. They said, there's a difference between thin and skinny, and you look skinny. And, it's a good friend of mine. But that really got to me. That really kind of worried me and gave me a bit of anxiety, really. So I thought, my goodness, losing weight unintentionally is not my thing. I haven't got scales. I don't step on scales very often. I usually go by, like you said, clothing really is my gauge. And I'm looking at these things and I'm thinking, I'm no different than I was 6 months ago. In fact, I'm no different than I was, I think it was a lovely little daisy dress I wore in 2017. And I can still wear that daisy dress. It's not oversized, doesn't hang, it's absolutely the same. And then I thought to myself, why is this person telling me these things? And they are wanting to lose weight.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Maybe they're jealous.
Yeah, they were wanting to lose weight and they're doing things to try and fast track that. And what I like about what you've just shared is that you've given yourself that wonderful thing about change. Time. Time is the wonderful gift that we have that enables us to make changes in micro steps.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I think often we don't allow ourselves the gift of time. You know, we want instant results. We want it immediately. And, you know, even when we're working in those beautiful micro steps that are not difficult, this is the thing, is by doing it in micro steps, it makes life easier. It makes the goal more achievable. Because like you said, inspiration or motivation can come and go. But those tiny little changes that we make, those tiny little changes can get us where we want to be, all in good time, and also keep us there for longer.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep us there. So a lot of these quick methods, they're all well and good. They might work well, fast, you know, but once you go back to a more reasonable and well thought out style of living or choices, that fast weight will come back.
Yes.
But, you know, if you give yourself that time and take those micro steps.
You just said something, Julie, that I'm glad you brought up, because that has been my mindset this whole time, is that this is coming off slow, but it's going to stay off because
That's
I'm
right.
actually changing the habits. I'm changing the way I'm doing things.
Yeah. And change is one of those things that is constant.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the great things about change is it can be directed by you. It can be assisted by you. And it comes from you. But whilst those changes are happening, while you are making those micro movements, give yourself a congratulatory bit of love and affection, because you're making all those moves. So even if the change isn't instant and you're not getting that kind of congratulations externally from people, oh wow, you've lost a lot of weight, blah blah blah, you can congratulate yourself for being on that micro step change all of the time. Throughout it all, you can say, yes, I'm making the right moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm happy with what I'm doing here. Yes, I'm content with the new habits I'm forming.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Julie. Okay, you guys, I wrote down her quote: time allows us to make changes in micro steps. And the micro leads to the macro, doesn't it? It sure does. Okay, next one, and then we're bringing up Lois. I'll be quick with this one. Number 5, resistance is part of the process. Every time you stretch into change, resistance will rise. Please know, we are a set of programs and conditioning, and we want to keep doing the same things. We're going to be, that resistance is going to rise. It can't not, because the body follows the mind, and the mind is programmed in a certain way. So we're still doing this thing. We're still trying to do the same things. There's also the area of fear, self-doubt, setbacks, and old patterns. Don't think of them as you're going backwards. I don't look at that story I just told you is perfect setup for this. I don't look at it as I'm going backwards. I'm like, oh, look, what happened? Okay. I don't, oh, I'm going backwards. I suck. I may as well just eat everything now. I don't think like that. I'm just like, oh, okay, look, I gained a pound back or 2 pounds or whatever it is. So now I'm going to continue on again. And I know what I need to do. But there's one thing that I did do is I erased certain things. I had like little notes and things around my house that just reminded me, here's what you're going to eat today. Here's what you're going to do, or focus on this or what have you, or go to the grocery store and pass that aisle. Well, I thought I was done. So I took a lot of those notes down because they were there forever, and I stopped looking at them. No, I think it's time that I'm going to remind myself again. So resistance is going to arise, you guys. Just know that. We talked about that in the beginning. See them as signs that you're in the thick of the transformation, that you're in the meat of the transformation, that, oh, I had a little back step. That's because I am changing right now. And that awareness, that consciousness is amazing. Stoics embraced voluntary discomfort to train resilience. How crazy is that? Isn't that a great quote? Stoics embraced voluntary discomfort to train resilience. I've heard of that too with people who have a fear of rejection. They're like, go get 20 rejections every single day. You'll stop fearing it because you're going to embrace the discomfort of the rejection. So once you're like, rejection becomes just a thing, you'll stop fearing it. Buddhists taught sitting with suffering instead of running from it. Okay, sitting with it. True change doesn't mean we're eliminating the resistance. Please, no. You're not eliminating the resistance. It means learning to walk through it with courage. It's going to arise. And the reflection question here is, how can I respond differently to resistance when it shows up on my path of change? How can I show up differently to resistance when it shows up on my path of change? That's it. Allow it to be what it is. Resistance is part of the process. Back steps are part of the process. Setbacks, fear, self-doubt, all part of the process. Being upset with yourself when you don't knock it out of the park, all part of the process. Forgiving yourself, giving yourself grace, all part of the process. You're normal, y'all. We're all normal. We're all doing the same things. Welcome up, Lois. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for waiting too.
No problem, no problem, no problem. You know, I love change. Change, because I've
Me
embraced
too.
all over my life because I understand that universal law that everything is always moving and changing. Nothing stays the same. You can never go backwards. I don't care how you try. You can't backstep. Ain't no backsteps because everything is moving forward. Now you may stop where you are and have to pick back up, but you never have to go back to the starting gate. You never had to go back to the beginning. So
Mhm.
that's a misnomer. So you always, when you start from right where you are. Right where you stopped at is where you pick right back up. Okay. Even if you got to stop, start. You don't get very far like that. But yeah, when I realized that change was a constant and it was going to happen whether I resisted it or I embraced it, I
Yes,
get on board with it because
that's
I
a big one.
that my cells regenerate every moment. Some cell in my body is rejuvenated at every second. Something is dying and something is rejuvenating. Okay, and I understand how seasons shift, how relationships evolve or dissolve. Okay, my identity was formed over time through change, and trying to hold on to how it was is like, to me, it's like putting your hand full of water and trying to hold the water as it's slipping through your fingers. You ain't gonna be able to hold the water in your hand no matter how tightly you clutch. The water's gonna fall because everything is constantly moving. Okay, and it's easier when it goes down a path that's well worn, and that's why you got to make your own. That's why I learned that change demanded I let go, and change demanded that I make a decision to change. It that when I decided that I'm going to change on purpose instead of being changed haphazardly, and haphazard change was what it was happening. It happens hazardly. It's in the word, happens hazardly, haphazard. I was always changing haphazardly where something was catastrophic would have to happen. But when I purposed in my heart that I'm going to change and I'm going to move and I'm going to let go, I know that change is my bridge to freedom. So that's why I hold on to it, because every healing, every breakthrough, every shifting of mind, mindset or mind flow, every toxic pattern, every discovering of my joy required me to change. Okay, because without it, we're gonna repeat the cycles that are already there, that are already set for us, and because they were formed in our childhood, in our youth. And I learned this too, and this further empowered me. Change is not in an instant. It's layered. Okay. Transformation don't just happen. Okay. It's not boom. It automatically, I plant a seed and it grows automatically, just like that. No, ain't no seed gonna grow like that. It takes awareness. It takes that discomfort. It takes experimentation. It takes adjustment. It takes integration. And each layer feels different. And so you got to honor every layer and be grateful for every little tiny little aspect of what's changing in your life. And when you do this, change to me is the ultimate act of faith, because it's faith in myself, faith in life, faith that what is emerging is going to be greater than what is being left behind. Because I know I have never left from one situation and the next situation was worse. It appeared worse for a moment, but when I looked at the lessons, oh my God, it was so much better. Okay, and I'm looking, why did I stay in that thing so long when I could have had this thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see change as the enemy. It was and is the very mechanism of my becoming who I am, of my becoming whole and complete, you know, and not allowing my brain to hijack me or my biology to hijack me. I recognize that I control my biology. When you understand this stuff, man, oh man, it
Yep.
frees your mind. It really, really frees your mind because change is both inevitable and it's always uncomfortable. Now, you can call it uncomfortable. I just say I'm having growing pains. Pangs, not no pain. Pains. Okay, I don't know what that means, but it ain't a pain. I'm having growing pains. Like, oh, I feel that uncomfortable thing. Now I get to direct that uncomfortable energy. Am I going to direct that energy upstream or downstream? Am I going to say, oh my God, I'm terrified. I'm going to be anxious. Oh, or am I going to say, hey, wait a minute. I can face this fear and rise because fear is just the threshold of my new becoming. That's what I have to
Mm.
say. I love you.
I love you too, Lois. Oh my gosh. I put a sock in my mouth, not to say anything while Lois was talking, because all I wanted to say was preach. I was doing my little beatnik snaps, trying to keep my little mouth shut. Everything you said, Lois, excellent, beautiful. Change is constant. And I came up with this while you were talking. It's going to happen anyway, you guys. So we can either be the passive receiver of the change, or we can be the assertive initiator. What do you guys think about that? Passive receiver or the assertive initiator? I just made that up. Help me change those words if they don't fit, because I just wrote them down on the fly. That means we can be the receiver of whatever happens. It just comes in and we're like, okay, well, this is what we're doing now. Or because change is inevitable, right? Or we can be creative and assertive and initiate positive and impactful change. I'm going to go with that. I think that's great. I also really love that Lois talked about the change, like her cells changing every day in her body, every day in her body, in my body, in your body. And she said it's rejuvenating. Yes, we can rejuvenate our lives by creating change. I love change too. My two favorite words, two of my favorite words are choice and change. All right, because we have power. There's power in both of those words. We can choose to do something differently, or we can change to the best of our ability a situation or circumstance that we're in that we're not jiving with, that is no bueno. We get choice here. We have free will. We have more power than we think we do. And I'm hoping that this conversation today really open to a new way of seeing things. By the way, Sarah, before you say anything, I did have a lot of back channel messages, you all. I turned off my notifications so they're not flashing on a banner. I'm only seeing it on the communication circle, because when I go to listen to the replays of this and edit them, I'm having these weird glitches in the audio. And I was wondering if it's when people send me a message and the banner's on. So I'm going to try this to see if this helps. So I'm not answering or reading your DMs out loud right now, everyone. Sorry about that. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, I'm just excited to be on today. I understand that, like, the truth about change, it's not specifically about weight loss. And I know that my truths come to binge eating. So it just so happened that it was what I needed to hear. More than that, I was just really excited that I was able to, like, stay on and listen. I go through these phases where I'm like really triggered about conversations around weight loss. And, I'm like, oh, not going to do that to myself. But it's right on time. And I wanted to share like one like little small step I've been doing for myself. I'm not counting calories. I haven't made like any big changes, I'm attempting to like kind of regulate my eating behaviors, like regulate it like morning, lunch, and dinner with 2 snacks. And because when I have surgery, I'm gonna have to like find a solution for the food, and it's gonna look like probably prepared meals just so it's accessible. But the calorie count on these meals isn't very high, but I'll be sedentary, so it can't be very high. So I like grabbed some meals to like practice a little bit. I'm not at all like on a diet, but I'm reading the package just to be aware of like the calorie count, because when you're like sedentary, it is a number thing. And so like my small little step right now is just being aware of what the calories are on this specific thing. I'm not counting them and adding them up. I'm just being aware. Like I ate a bag of cheese crackers and there's 210 calories. So I just, things that I like do, and I may like randomly eat like 4 of them, but I'm not really like focused on whether I eat 4 of them, but just taking the time to look and see what it is.
It sounds like you're just bringing more awareness in.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, being conscious with it. Yeah, that's awesome. Excellent.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to share.
Awesome, Sarah. And I love that you're preparing for the surgery. It sounds like you're being very intentional and putting a lot of thought into this. So I know it's going to go well. I'm just sending you all the healing vibes, so much healing vibes. And for your doctors and nurses and everybody that's going to touch you or be around you or make any sort of decision for you that you can't make for yourself, they will be in their highest state of mind and their calmest nervous system, and they will allow God, source, universe, spirit to flow through them and guide their hands and their choices and their mouths and their thinking and all the things. So right on, Sarah. Groovy, groovy. So y'all, change isn't easy. We know that. It asks for and really requires honesty, courage, consistency, and a willingness to let go in some departments of our life. But remember, what always feels heavy at first or difficult or challenging eventually feels normal and natural. It eventually feels like part of you. You're part of your routine, part of the shtick. And it may feel that way at first, like it's heavy and it's hard and it's difficult and oh my gosh, and my nervous system and my brain and all these things that are trying to fight against me. But keep in mind that it is the doorway to freedom, to authenticity, to enlightenment, to love, to connection, to physical health, and to expansion. So give yourself that space. Give yourself that space. Give yourself that grace. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you again tomorrow for another episode of Empower Hour with KB. Bye.